Hello and welcome to the show. It's available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I'm your host, Tavishima Ayide, and today might be a noisy episode because I'm actually in the car park, so there might be some noise around, but the windows are up, so hopefully we shouldn't have too many interruptions. If you'd love to connect and explore opportunities with me, then call me on 080-6466-2140 or WhatsApp me on the same number. The country code is +234 for those of you who are not Nigerian. Then for social media, connect with me on LinkedIn. Now today is going to be the second part, hopefully it should be the second and the third part of the digital marketing for women, the project that I handled with Avon Innovation Hub in Abuja. They are a co-working space, tech innovation hub, and I found out recently that they also outsource talent for foreign companies. So tech, digital marketing, stuff like that. So if you are in those spaces, you figure yourself to be a tech hotshot, a marketing whiz, a marketing guru, that sort of thing, then why not show up at Avon, have a chat with them. They have a roster of international clients who are looking for talent that they can outsource to. So just head over to Avon Hub in Abuja. I can't remember the address. I know it's in Wuse too anyway, but just whip up your Instagram or check Google, and Avon is AIIVON, Avon Innovation Hub. I think they also have offices. Yeah, they definitely have an office in Makudi in Benue State, my hometown. So for my Tiv and Idoma and Igala and Igede and Etulo brothers and sisters who are listening to this back home, if you live in Makudi, Avon also has an office in Makudi. So you can go over there and hit them up and see how you can get yourself some nice income in dollars. You do the Cripsy math. So if they're paying you like, $1,000 every month, do the math. $500 every month, do the math. All right. So digital marketing for women. I already done the purpose of this is supposed to be a summary video for people who came late or who missed a couple of sessions. So this episode in particular is going to be for Genevieve. Genevieve came late on day 2. Genevieve, Joy, who else? Okay, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. But for those of you who missed day 1 entirely, the summary episode is already up. For those of you who missed day 1 and day 2, then this episode should help you get caught up to speed on what we discussed on day 2 during the training. But then after you're done listening to this, you have to listen to the day 1 episode. And then hopefully I'm going to be able to get day 3 in here as well. Okay, so I have my notes and it's been over for a while. Today is demo day. But before we go into demo day is basically just them coming back and doing practicals because I want to be able to assess how well it is that they understood the concepts that we discussed during the training, because I'm really curious to see how they're going to take all this theory that we have discussed and then apply it to real life practical problems that they are dealing with in their businesses. Okay, and then 2 of the participants who ran NGOs, how they're going to apply it to their not-for-profit organizations. Okay, so that's enough of the introduction. Okay, so day 2 was, one moment. Let me pull up my notes. Day two. So day 2 was search engine optimization, SEO fundamentals. Now, I knew that was a class that was not going to appeal to most of them because, anyway, I just got a read of the room, and I suspected only one person would have a website, and I was correct. And it was a lady who ran the NGO that dealt with teen adolescents and mental health and those sorts of things. Oh, sorry, is there such a thing as teen adolescents? I think an adolescent by definition has to be a teen, I think. Anyway, but even though they didn't have to learn about SEO, search engine optimization in the technical sense, I still wanted them to understand the philosophy of SEO, the rationale behind SEO, the principles that are driving SEO, because we can use that to further our business, whether we only have an Instagram, whether we only have a TikTok or whatever. So SEO, the definition, of course, means search engine optimization. That's a fancy term. It's a technical term. So I prefer to always use everyday rough and ready definitions. And so I told them that for the purposes of the training, every single time I say SEO. In fact, after the training, every single time that the ladies hear SEO, what SEO means is just how are people finding me online. Now, let me repeat. If you go and meet a marketing guru and you want the guru to define SEO for you, you're going to get a technically robust, long definition. But for those of us who are listening to this podcast, every single time you hear SEO, just think, how are people finding me or my business online? That is just the question that we're trying to answer. Now, because we're worried about people finding us online, and then for most businesses, it's finding you on Google or finding you on the other one that belongs to Microsoft, Bing. Oh, and the ladies educated me that there are also other websites, search engines. Now, there's another one called DuckDuckGo, Duck like DUCK, so DuckDuckGo. I haven't checked that one out. Well, by the way, that's one of the benefits of public speaking. You always get to be educated by the crowd. You know what's going on, new things in the field, stuff like that. So, where was I? So primarily, when people say SEO, how am I going to be found online? People want to be found on search engines. So that's where the journey starts. But even if you don't have a website, and even if you're not preoccupied about how people will find you on search engines, we should be worried about how people are going to find us on TikTok. That's if you have a TikTok. We should be worried about how people are going to find you on Instagram, if you have an Instagram. And you should be worried about how people are going to find you on LinkedIn, if you have a LinkedIn. So this is the reason why we need to understand the principles behind these things, because even if you don't have a website, the principles, the philosophy of the whole thing is kind of the same, regardless of where you are. So we started off by understanding search engines and how they work. So in the old days, we don't really know how search engines used to work. But then Google came along with this whole thing of relevancy, that if we're going to give people a bunch of results, we want the results, we want the results to be relevant to them. And relevancy just means I'm interested in it, I need the information, or the information is going to help me solve a problem and it's going to help me get somewhere. So the example that I gave was, what example did I give? I think the example that I gave was the best bole in Abuja. So the example that I gave them, best bole in Abuja, was this, that if three of us typed in the search, there was Anna, the lady who educated me about DuckDuckGo, and then there was Agnes, that's the lady who's the marriage specialist, and then there's me. So I said, if Agnes is in her house and she types in best bole in Abuja, or for those of you who are not Nigerians listening to the show, bole is it's a snack. It's like fast food, local fast food, you put it that way. So it's fried plantains. Plantains are like the older brothers of bananas. So, so like fried plantains, you mix it up, you have some pepper and salt. Some people eat it with roasted yam. It's nice fast food, local fast food. Let's just put it that way. So if Agnes stays in her house, and then she types best bole in Abuja, I stay in my house and I type in best bole in Abuja, and then Anna stays in her house and types in best bole in Abuja, we're going to get different results. We're going to get different results because we're different people with different preferences in different locations. So it is going to show Agnes the best bole in Abuja that is closest to her and that she might like. It's also going to show Ene the best bole in Abuja that is closest to her location and that she might like. And then for me, it's also going to show me the best bole that is closest to my location and that I might like. So that is what search engines are trying to do, and that is how they work. They're always trying to serve up information that is relevant, that is interesting, and that is tailored to the person who is doing the search. And that is what we should try to do on online or on social media platforms. So if I'm on Instagram, I have to make sure that I'm putting out content on Instagram that has those sorts of keywords that when people search, my stuff should show up as relevant to what they need, important to what they need, helpful to helping them solve their problems, or helpful to be able to help them achieve whatever vision it is that they're trying to achieve. Because if you are in business, let's face it, people either have a problem that they need your product or your service, or they have a vision that they need your product or your service to solve. So let's take cars, for instance. Yeah, that's something we talked about during the training, cars, because Agnes drives a Mercedes-Benz and I drive a Toyota. And so for someone who is just trying to get from point A to B and to get there affordably, then, that's guys like me. Toyota. Look, I just need something. It works and it's not going to cost me too much money. So Toyota. But then you have a little bit of disposable income. You want a car that makes you feel good, or that wants to make you feel like you've arrived, or you want to signal, to the people out there. And then you get yourself a nice Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. So you can see that in this case, one person has a problem that the person is trying to solve. Me, I'm broke, I need a Jeep car. Another person has a vision that they're trying to move towards. Like, this is me now. The children are grown and I've left the house. I have some extra cash, I suppose flex. And then they buy a Benz, a G-Wagon. So no matter the business that you have, everybody is either trying to solve a problem or is trying to move towards a certain vision. And you should be putting out content on your website, on your social media, on your LinkedIn, on your wherever, on your WhatsApp status that shows people that these are the problems that I solve, or this is how I can help you achieve your vision. And so the words that you use in the content, the keywords now become very, very important. So that is the reason why search engine optimization always ends up being a talk around keywords. What keywords are you using? So for SEO, search engine optimization, how can people find me online? It now becomes a matter of what words are you using? Now, what words are you using in your content that people are going to search for? Now, there are two major ways of going about this that I told the ladies in the class. And that is, number one, you can go and do a bunch of research to figure out what words that people are using, because there are SEO tools that you can do that. So I told them about how you can use SEM Rush to do keyword research. SEM is, like it says, SEM, and then Rush. The normal Rush, RUSH. So SEMrush do keyword research. So let me check my notes. There's also another one. Actually, to be honest, there are a lot. There's a whole lot. Then there's also Google Search Console. That should also help you with keywords. Let's see what else. There's Moz. That's MOZ. So anyway, like I said, there are plenty. Just take Google, type into Google keyword research tool, and then they will come up. So you can use that to do keyword research. Now, I also mentioned how I introduced to the ladies their new boyfriends or their new husbands, and basically it's just artificial intelligence tools. The reason why I said that is our new husband or our new boyfriend is because these tools are reliable and they're very good for brainstorming. But please note, I did not say we should turn our brains off, because some people hear AI and they assume that, I'm turning my brain off, I'm letting a computer think for me. Artificial intelligence is just used to augment what you are already doing. So use it for research. You're the one that has to go and apply the idea anyway. So just use it for the research and get a sense of what you think you might have to do next. So you can also use these AI tools to do keyword research. You can type into Gemini or ChatGPT and say, I'm a female entrepreneur living in Abuja in the alternative energy space. I sell solar panels and inverter batteries and blah, 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 blah. I would like to target clients who are middle income, something, living in this part of Abuja city. What kind of keywords should I be using to improve the SEO on my site? And then you hit enter. It will now give you a list of keywords that people might be interested in. So, and I can't do that because I'm using my phone right now, obviously. But then it might say, okay, people who are interested in this kinds of product or service might be searching for keywords like solar panels, electricity, power grid failure, blah, blah, blah. So whatever it says now, those are ideas around content that you could be putting out on the internet to, Right, the Hamatan in Abuja is really kicking up. And then, of course, the kids came home with a cold and sneezed on my face. And so the whole rubbish has started again. What was I? So you now use the AI tool, and then you get some keywords. You now use those keywords to write content around those sorts of things, because in theory, those are the things that people will be searching for when they are looking to get a solar panel or to get an inverter. So that is one way you can sort your SEO, get your keywords by doing research. But I told them that the one that I prefer and the one that I think everybody should start with is the organic one, which is, as you have been running your solar business, customers have been asking you some kind of questions. The questions that they ask you, just go straight to your blog, to your Instagram, to your whatever, and start making your blog post, your video, your everything, answering those questions. Because within you answering those questions, you are already using and addressing keywords and pain points that people are using live and direct in the field. So this one doesn't require too much research. I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying start with that. So if one question that people normally ask you is, what kind of inverter battery should I buy? Go and make an Instagram video of what kind of inverter should I buy. If people have been asking you, dry cell battery, wet cell battery, which one is more safer to use? If that's the question your customers have been asking you, then go on LinkedIn and write your blog post. Dry cell battery versus wet cell battery, which one is the safest one to use? So you can see how in the question themselves, the customers are already using certain words, certain phrases, certain keywords that are important to them. And I can assure you, if 2 or 3 people are asking you these kind of questions every time you go to install, every time you have a business meeting with them, I can assure you that there are lots of people also using those terms. So this organic method is a way of getting your SEO done. Oh, by the way, this is organic SEO. You're just trying to do this SEO on your own. You've not hired a specialist. You're just trying to sort things out by yourself. You haven't paid a specialist. So these are organic ways to get your SEO done. And so in theory, if you're using these kinds of words, dry cell, wet cell, power grid collapse, safety, whatever, then people should be able to find you online, or able to find you on Instagram, or able to find you on LinkedIn, or able to find you on TikTok or wherever, because you are using those words that your potential customers are searching. So that is what SEO is about. So you can see how, even if you don't have a website, using this SEO mindset, you can make a good go at it on LinkedIn or on Instagram or on TikTok or on Snapchat or on anything that has a search function within the app. Okay, it might not help you on WhatsApp, but it's helpful in other places. Okay, so I spent a lot of time on SEO, so let me just move on. Okay, so I told them about on-page SEO techniques. That is where you go and get a specialist. If you're not a technical person, where you worry about your title tags, how are you doing technical stuff behind on the website, meta descriptions. A meta description is just using technical code to describe certain things on the website, so that the Google algorithm and the Google bots can know exactly what it is that exists on your site, doing headers, doing tags, all that technical stuff. Then there's also technical, let me check my notes. Okay, there's also technical SEO best practices where you try and make sure that the website is fast, and because that also affects whether Google serves it or not. Because if your website has relevant information and is fast, Google is going to show you this is the correct website. But if your website has relevant information, but it takes like 3 seconds to upload, then, Google is not going to show you, because, it will show you just that you'll be at the bottom of the list. So you want to be relevant and you want to be fast. Then, let's see what else. Okay, XML sitemaps. That's just where you give instructions to Google robots that are crawling your site, so that the Google algorithm will understand what the website looks like. Because I explained to the ladies that we're human beings, so we're using our eyes and we understand. A website opens, you look, we understand, we know what it is. But Google is not a human being. Google is just numbers, algorithms, artificial intelligence, those sorts of things. So it needs some guides to tell you what it is that it's looking for. And that's what the XML sitemap is about, and the robots. But I told them that really, for their level, this is not something they need to worry about yet. Let's just be running this organic thing. Do some research, start putting up the posts. Or the questions that my customers are asking me, start answering those questions. They are a good way to start for now. Eventually, we have a bit of money. We'll now go and pay those tech boys or tech girls to come and do all this technical thing on the back end. Or you can go and learn how to do the technical thing yourself. So we did a case study where I asked the ladies we came up with a number of things. What did we do again? Okay, there was somebody who was a staff of Radio Nigeria. So we checked Radio Nigeria's website, wanted to see how fast Radio Nigeria's website was. We used Google Page Speed. Yes, Google Page Speed Insights. So if you want to see what that tool is, that's what you should type into your search engine when you're done with this podcast episode. Just type in Google and then Page and then Speed and then Insights. It's going to open up the URL, which is pagespeed.web.dev. And basically, if you take your website address and you put it in there and you just click on it, it's going to give you a score. It's going to tell you that, look, guy, your website is taking 6 seconds to load. Your website is rubbish. It will tell you that. It will also tell you what your SEO is like. Let's see, what else? I can't remember the information that it gave us anyway. But the thing is, back when I was introduced to this tool years ago, then it just used to tell us page speeds. So it would just, you put your website address there. The thing will tell you that, dude, your website took 10 seconds to load. Your website is rubbish. Close your website. Or it will tell you that, okay, your website took 0.8 seconds to load, so it's fantastic. Well done. Oh, by the way, for Radio Nigeria, it took 0.08 seconds for their website to load, and I was impressed because my assumption was that if it's anything government or if it's anything Nigerian government, in fact, that the website would be crap. But it scored pretty well on SEO and on page speed and on things like that. So if you have a website and you want to know how well your website is doing, what is the SEO like? Is the SEO good or not? What is your loading time of your website? Is it good or not? That is the place to go to. Google Page Speed Insights. As usual, there are many. There's also GT Metrics. There is Pingdom. There is Uptrends. Then for SEO, to find out how your SEO is doing, there's Google Search Console. There is Moz, M-O-Z. I've already told you about SEM Rush. That's S-E-M and then Rush. And then Ahrefs. That is A and then the letter H and then R-E-F-S, all in one word. So those are the things that you can use to be able to figure out my website. Is the thing loading quick? The SEO, is it on point? Stuff like that. So if you run that, you'll get a sense of what it is that you need to do next. So there's somebody's website that we ran. I won't say who that person is, but Vivian, you know yourself. And it took like 2 seconds to load and give a very low score. So Vivian, talk to your bosses. You guys need to upgrade that website because it's terrible. In this day and age, in 2024, that you have a website that is taking 2 whole seconds to load. I mean, who's going to wait for that thing? Most people will just click out immediately. I mean, I am patient, so I'll wait for 2 seconds. But I know most of you will just close the page and move on. So, so if you use those tools and your website is taking 2 seconds to load, you now know that, okay, you need to call your tech person, you need to call the boy or the girl who designed your website, and you need to shout at them that, look, what kind of rubbish is this? I gave you 500k to design website. This thing is taking 2 seconds to load and blah, blah, blah. Look, come and fix it. I'm not paying you any more money, blah, blah, blah. You have that conversation. All right. So that is pretty much what we did on day 2, which was SEO. Then for day 3, let me just try and wrap it up in 5 minutes. So for day 3, which was the day before yesterday, we did social media marketing for business. And so some of the questions that I addressed was, I wanted us to have a debate on what social media is. because there's an open question: is WhatsApp social media or not? And we had some interesting debates about whether WhatsApp is social media, and the consensus of the ladies, this was them educating me. Their consensus was social media. WhatsApp is social media because there's a search function. The AI function has been integrated. You can now follow people. People can follow you back. There's channel functionality. There's all kinds of things. WhatsApp is a very rich platform, so I'm grateful that I was there, because I didn't also get to teach the ladies a bunch of stuff, but they also imparted some wisdom on me as well. So now I need to go and learn my WhatsApp proper. So, word on the street is that WhatsApp is now social media. In case you're like me and you are not convinced, just know that whether you think it is social media or not, people on the streets, your customers, they think WhatsApp is social media. So you better get in gear. Then we had the question on which social media you should focus on. Some people said focus on Facebook, because Facebook is the most is the one that is the most the most trafficked. That we have 8 billion people on the planet, and 3 billion of them are on WhatsApp, something like that. Another person said, no, don't use Facebook, use TikTok, because TikTok is where the millennials are, where all the young people are. Facebook is for old people who are 40 and above. Another person said, no, use Pinterest, because Pinterest is the best and it appeals mostly to women, so lots of women are on Pinterest. Another person said use, come to think of it, nobody said use Twitter. If you work at Twitter, if you work at X, that's some damning evidence right there. Because people called all kinds of social media sites, nobody called Twitter. So I let the debate rage on for a while, everybody going back and forth about which is the best social media to use. And then after the debate, I reminded them about things that we discussed on day one, which was that it's all about relevancy to your audience. So it doesn't matter what you think. It's about your audience. Where are they? Which social media do they think is popping? Which social media do they think is the best? So if you prefer LinkedIn, but all your audience is on TikTok, then you better go and get yourself a TikTok handle. It's as simple as that. If you think TikTok is the best, everything is popping off on TikTok, but all your audience is on LinkedIn, but you think LinkedIn is too stuffy, you don't like LinkedIn, it's not about you. Don't keep wasting your time on TikTok. If all your customers are on LinkedIn, go and get yourself a LinkedIn handle. It's that simple. So it's not about you. Which one should you focus on? You should focus on the one that your customers are focusing on. It's that simple. And then tomorrow, if for some strange reasons, your customers stop being on TikTok, stop being on LinkedIn, stop being on Pinterest, and they all migrate to Linda Ikeji's social media, because Linda Ikeji tried opening a social network back in the day. I can't remember what it's called. So if for some strange reason overnight all your people leave and they go to Linda Ikeji's social media network, then by all means go to Linda Ikeji and apply and get yourself a handle, because that's where your customers are. So that's where it works. Then let's see. Okay, we also now did some theory about what marketing is, which is the business function that just shows the world who we are, the problems we solve, how we can help. And then we now try to brainstorm how we can use social media to achieve advertising goals, branding goals, public relations goals, sales goals, and direct copywriting goals. So we run through specific examples. So let me check my notes. Let's see if one of the examples that I gave is here. Let me see. I wrote it in a different sheet of paper. Okay, I think I must have written it on a different sheet of paper. I'm really sorry. A lot has been going on here. We're still working on that documentary for the British Council and then this training event. So I can't remember the case study that we used. I must have written it on a sheet of paper. But basically, we now had some case studies about how we could use social media to achieve. Okay, this is odd. I usually write for the training. I was writing everything on this paper. Anyway, so we did some case studies about how you can use your social media to solve these problems. And so we called, one of the case studies we used was we called the lady who runs an NGO who is worried about the mental health of adolescents, female adolescents in Nigeria. So we looked at her Instagram handle, live and direct there, and we started brainstorming on a bunch of stuff to see how she can use her Instagram to achieve advertising goals or branding goals or public relation goals or sales goals or direct copywriting goals. That's what we're we tried to do as a case study. We did 3 case studies, so she was the first. Then, first off, we started off with something I've been insisting over here on the podcast, that it depends on what the purpose is that you have for your social media. So we wanted to know exactly, this your social media self, what are you trying to achieve? We need to ask ourselves that question, because we have social media and we're tweaking our social media, we're making changes to our social media, but we're not even asking ourselves, what are you trying to achieve? If you have that kind of social media and you run an NGO and you're trying to use social media to raise funds, but all the content that you're putting there is geared towards stakeholders like government regulators and parents and things like that, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're telling yourself, I want this thing to raise funds for me, but you're only putting out stuff for stakeholders. Like, it's not blending, it's not jiving. So you need to start off by asking yourself, what are you using the social media for? That will determine the tweaks that you're going to do, the changes that you're going to make. So if you want to communicate with stakeholders, go ahead, communicate with stakeholders. But for her, she was talking about getting more young people talking about stuff, and then also attracting donors, attracting funds. So the brainstorming that we did, by the way, ladies who haven't tried joining a female networking initiative or stuff like that, this is the benefit of these kind of things. You're there, it's a safe space, you're with your sisters, you're people that you can relate to. Some people that are like your aunties, some people that are like your younger sister, but it's all of you just there, brainstorming, coming up with ideas. And there were beautiful ideas that came up about the lady's bio. That's the Instagram bio, the thing we're supposed to say about us or about the organization. Came up with some tips about how she could change her bio that would appeal to adolescents, young people aged 12 to 35. Let's see what else. How it could appeal to those kind of people. Then how she could change her themes, her graphic designs, use some consistency in the themes, because some of the colors were all over the place. Then also the use of language, language that would appeal to people within that age group, ways to get more people into the community, how to include more children in the content, and then how you could come up with content that would show your, her, what are they called? People that give you money, what are they called? Donors, and that will show the donors how she is utilizing those funds, because that's an important way of raising money when you're in the NGO space. Because people who are giving you funds to run your NGO, they're concerned about a couple of things. This money that I'm giving this guy or I'm giving this babe, is this person using this money to flex, or is this person using the money to go and do work in the field? For the work that they're doing in the field, what kind of work are they doing? What kind of impact is this thing having? Those are the kind of questions that donors need answers to. And so if you're going to use your Instagram handle like this lady is doing to raise funds for your NGO, then you need to make sure that you're answering a bunch of these questions. So me and the ladies, we freestyled and came up with a bunch of ideas around that. And then there were 2 other case studies. We've already done 30 minutes here, and I think that's pretty much what was covered in the course. So let me just bring today's episode to a close. But summary, that is what we did over the 3-day period. The digital marketing course that we did for women, digital marketing for women, that we did with Avon. So it was 3 days where we exposed the ladies to content, SEO, and social media marketing. So if you listen to this episode and the episode prior, you should get a fair idea of the stuff that we spoke about. So, but even though it was built around content, SEO, and social media marketing, of course, we discussed other things. There's some people who had some direct sales questions, like, okay, I'm with this customer, how do I close the deal? Another lady who also had an NGO who wanted tips around fundraising. We had to, during her own session where we were brainstorming for her, apart from all the online stuff we're talking about, there was a session about how she actually has to go out and start talking to donors one-on-one. And see, ladies, this is the beauty of these kinds of sessions. You have a younger lady, just finished law school, has her own NGO. There's another person who has been at the game for a while, a decade and over, older woman, married, kids, some experience on her, and then you're in that session, and then you are connecting live. The older person is saying that, oh, my sister, this is how you do it. When I started in so and so, it was like this. If you want to get donors, it is like this. If you want to do this, it is like this. And that's the benefit of these sorts of things. So I already made a podcast episode about whether business networking for females was worth it. But just in case you're undecided, please trust me that it is, because I've noticed that these things are not well attended. 40 people registered. We hoped that 25 would show, but there wasn't a day where we had more than 15. Let me repeat. 40 people registered. Well, over 40 people registered. At some point, we had to close the registration because Avon is not that big. It's not as if you can accommodate 100 people. I mean, it's a co-working space, so you have small offices here and there. So they closed the registration at 40. We were hoping that 25 would show. We didn't have more than 15 on each particular day. Some people will come on day 1, they won't come on day 2, and that sort of thing. So, I mean, worst case scenario, over the 3 days, we probably had about, close to 30 people come through the program. So, my sisters, my mommies, my aunties, my younger sisters, my cousins, all of you, it's worth it. When you see these things, just go and attend. It's not, anyway, let me not preach too much. It's worth it. And since for some of these things, there's not going to be an idiot guy in the room who is dominating the conversation. Okay, well, I was what's the word? I was the facilitator, I was the trainer. So, okay, yeah. I was the idiot guy there who could dominate the conversation sometimes. But there's lots of times where people were able to have conversations with each other, and you guys were able to build networking, and build relationships that might last you guys a long time. Sorry, you ladies, you girls, you women, a long time. So please, take advantage of some of these opportunities. This is 40 minutes, so let me bring today's episode to a close. So that's all for today, pretty much. Remember that if you'd love to connect with me to explore opportunities, then call me on 080-6466-2140 or WhatsApp me on the same number. The country code is +234 if you are not Nigerian. Then for social media, connect with me on LinkedIn. Thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.